Yo, what up, y'all? This is Nappy Roots,
Yo.
and you're listening to Day One Radio. Keep it locked to Nappy. Yo.
The business.
So welcome back to Day One Radio, right here on ablradio.com. That's Art Beats and Lyrics Radio to be exact. Make sure you download the very free, very accessible smartphone app on your iPhone and Android devices. And B, tell them where they can find the entire Day One Radio catalog.
You can always find us on dayonerradio.com, iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, all of that. You can catch all the old dope episodes and the new ones as well. So, man, we got, this second-time guest in the building, and they brought a friend. I'm heavy into the craft beer thing, and we heavy into the hip-hop thing. So when they come together, it's always a beautiful thing. We got Nappy Roots and Peter Kiley. Did I pronounce that right? Kiley?
Man, you said it right the first time.
For sure. The brewmaster for Monday Night Brewing, and if you're not in the Southeast, then you may not be familiar, but you need to get familiar. They just did a collaboration recently that we will talk about later in the interview with fellas. What's happening? Thanks for coming in.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Thank you for having us, sir.
No doubt, no doubt. So first, obviously, we got to talk about what pays the bill, man. The bill is this new album, Another 40 Acres.
Another 40 acres, man.
It's an amazing thing to still be in the game this long as we have and still be able to put out music that people appreciate.
We had you guys on the last project, and I've thought about this today when I was listening to the album again. I was like, y'all probably have fans that have no idea about the hits that y'all made in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot, And it's crazy because some of the people, that's all they know is the old music.
Right.
When we tour, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
When we tour, some people want to hear nothing but the classics. And then some people they don't know Po Folks. They don't know All Now. They don't know Heads Up. And they love Tokyo, They'll love some of the new music we put out. Good Day might, tickle their fancy. But, we've done a lot of music since Good Day that a lot of people just are oblivious to. They don't know about the Nappy.org album we did exclusively with Organized Noise, That album goes over everybody's head. And that's such a sad thing because that's such a monumental album for me is because I got to work with a legendary production crew and no one even knows about it.
And I think that was like one of the last albums that was actually produced at the Dungeon. You know what I'm saying? When
Dungeon
it was
East.
open. Yeah,
Dungeon East, Dungeon over in Ellenwood.
Yeah, man.
But the thing is, I feel like a lot of times, like when content is so readily available, that people get to it when they get to it.
Yeah.
So like with this
Absolutely.
new Organized Noise EP coming out, people will probably start searching for everything Organized Noise has done and be like, oh, okay, I didn't even know about this, and they'll become fans because it's a trip. When I look at our numbers, we interviewed TK Kirkland probably like a year and a half ago. Yeah. And literally there's probably like 100 people a week to listen to that episode.
Is it funny?
It's funny, and I'm like, did he say something that he hasn't said anywhere else?
I didn't go back and listen to, but TK, he's just a cash shit talker.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway.
100%.
And he did plenty of name
Black
dropping.
belt shit talker.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
remember him doing a lot of name dropping in that interview too, so that's part of the thing as well.
Yeah, probably.
Nah, but I was going to say, man, from your first question, that's weird you say that, man, that a lot of people probably don't know about our older hits because it's usually the other way around, the way Skinny was just saying it. So that kind of make me feel like we're doing something right because, if you know about our new stuff, actually we want you to know about the new stuff more than the old. Like, we want to be current and relevant. Right. And, we don't like it when people say, we want to hear All Now and why y'all ain't did nothing since Po Folks. So for you to ask that, man, that's encouraging to know that the new stuff is getting out there.
Yeah, y'all have been very consistent and putting out good music, man. And I feel like you guys tour so much that people, for y'all to keep putting out new music, somebody's recognizing that shit. Yeah. For sure.
I think the ability to be independent has allowed us to maintain and survive in this day and age. If we were still on Atlantic Records, it'd be very hard for us to maintain, the respect level that we have now. Yeah. Because a major label, they'll make you put out singles. And since we've been independent, we don't really care about singles. Mm-hmm. We want the body of work to speak for us because that's where we put our time and energy to. We're not trying to hit the ball over the fence every time it's pitched to us. But if we can get on base every time, that's how you win games, is getting on base. You can load the bases and wait for a home run. But if everybody can get on base, everybody on the team, that's every song connecting somehow, some way, and you can perform multiple songs and shoot multiple videos without a major label telling you this is the song and this is what we're going to put money behind. Give up all your hopes and dreams on every other record. This is the one. Yeah. And you have no control over that. It's like, we wouldn't be here right now if that was the case for us because we don't make singles in that fashion anymore.
That shit is played out anyway, though. Like, honestly, the streets, it's going back to what it was before. The streets really choose the single. Yeah, right. Streets, DJs, and clubs to an extent. Like, the radio follows suit. Unless it's, a huge artist or something like that.
I mean, literally, you can go to streaming and you can pretty much see an artist now and go look at, all right, this song, obviously, it seems to be the song that everyone likes. Go on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you're like, maybe we should put a little bit more behind this one because the numbers don't lie. And
5 to 10 years ago, with this new Kendrick album as an example, if 5 to 10 years ago, the Loyalty song with Rihanna would have been the no-brainer single. But DNA was a single, and that shit did 10 million views in a day. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. The analytics that we get as artists now is crazy, man. From Facebook to YouTube to even Twitter, like you can get it down to a detail. You can even know what type of phone somebody is listening to your music on. I mean, so it's like it's good for artists, and a lot of people be asking how can they support the new album. Like Blake just said, stream it. Like that helps the artist. Make a Nappy Root station. The music is so available. And like you say, it's organized noise. As when they become back relevant, our music is easily found. You can just go to iTunes, Spotify, wherever, and type it in, and it's there. Right, new age.
I like to think of our music and our plight almost as like Johnny Appleseed. We just planting seeds. And these trees are going to grow, and these trees might become, a tree for treehouse masters one day. And you can build an awesome house on top of a tree, or you can build a swing on it, or you can put a rope on it and swing right into a lake. Like those are the type of things we're trying to do with the seeds we're planting. Is strong roots, great trunks, awesome, branches, wonderful leaves in the fall that fall with awesome colors. And in the spring, you got the birds nesting them. It's a multiple-use, multi-purpose effort that we're putting in. Streaming, whether it's downloads or even the physical album you purchase at the show that you show up to. We're that available to you now. And we've always tried to be that available, even when we was in college. Right. It's think outside the box, be multifaceted, and be highly accessible one way or another. And like Scale said, there's multiple ways that you can listen to our music now. Yeah. You can look at the numbers on iTunes. You can go SoundCloud and look at the numbers of who liked this song or who played this song the most. You can actually reach out to that person and thank him. Yeah. And if we was on a major label, we wouldn't.
They would be hiding that from y'all.
They would.
They would. Like Wizard of Oz.
That information would not be accessible, and possibly we wouldn't care. We wouldn't even care. We're like, the label's going to handle it. Let's just go out here and just pop bottles and fuck bitches and make money. And it's like, no, we care. And it was Scale's decision to go independent. And since we went independent, we have more control. We have more understanding of what's going on. And we're analytical and we look at the stats. And the stats, I'm a numbers dude. Like I love the numbers. And all right, if we're low here, let's turn it up here. We're not doing so we're here, so let's go over here and do this now. No, these shirts are not selling, so let's make a new shirt. But like I said, if we was on a major, we wouldn't have access to those numbers and information, and we would just be, I feel for an artist now who's on a major, has been on a major his whole career, and now he wants to get off or he gets dropped, and now he has to start over with all that information. He doesn't own his .com. He doesn't own his own email address. Shit. He doesn't own his fan base. He doesn't own anything. He was just a tool for them to make money, keep the lights on, and for him, he just got famous. And he really didn't get rich. We are now in a point where we can control our destiny. And we might not be the richest artists, but we definitely ain't the brokest. You know, and we ain't the dumbest, and we might not be the smartest, but we right there in the middle. You know, IRS ain't fucking with us. Yeah, it depends on the day. You know, we can make our own beer. You know, without the label having their hands in our ideas.
He's a professional. You see that segue? You know? See that segue? He just pulled out there. So, said Skinny brought it up.
We just having fun, man. We just having fun, man. I love being independent more than I love being famous.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Because I and this is one thing that I always tell Scales, like, we can be famous as hell and you won't have no respect because you're looked at as, they're just doing it to make a hit. They're a one-hit wonder. They're just playing. They played themselves. We could have played ourselves back in 2005 trying to do the next Round the Globe, you know, or the next Anthony Hamilton record because those work so well. But Anthony Hamilton and
y'all should do another record with Anthony Hamilton.
Well, you know what? For us, it was the Ja Rule Ashanti factor. You know, it worked for Ja Rule Ashanti for a little while, but after a while, you stop hearing them. You don't want to see them two motherfuckers on a song. I get it, but damn, man. Like, all right, I get it. baby. Nah, man. Fuck all that, man. We done 6 songs with Anthony Hamilton, and it's our dude. Yeah. He's like, yo, what are we gonna do now? It's like, let's just chill for a little while, you know. And it's our cousin, but you know, we can't keep going back to him just to make a hit because it's not about hits anymore for us. It's about a career. It's about longevity. It's about respect.
Well, speaking of, you know, adding more people on the song, this project here, like, y'all pretty much like reunite the whole group. You know what I'm saying? With the first 40 Acres project, you know, it was like 3-man team. Now we got, you know, everybody with the exception of what, 1? You know what I'm saying?
2. Well, the 2 former members that left the group, of course, they're not going to be there. Right. But on the last album, it was a project. Let's see if this actually would work.
Right.
And because Blake lives here and me and Scales live here, and Blake said, I'll do it. Fuck it. You know, it was just us 3 hardcore. And then the songs that were open, we kind of got Steel to jump in and fill in the gaps for us. But on this album, it's like, okay, this worked, and let's bring more of Nappy roots and try to make it because I do feel, and we all kind of felt like, you know, we kind of isolated and separated ourselves, and it kind of, it wasn't bad, but it felt a certain way.
Fucked up, man.
It didn't feel all the way right. It didn't feel all the way right. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have a birthday party and you don't invite your cousin.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, he was working, or you just didn't invite him.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he's a drunk and he fights everybody. I don't know what happens when he gets here, but he wasn't invited. And so for this one, we don't care what happens when he gets here. Let's just get it because the first 20 minutes of him getting here is a good time. And so let's see what everybody does when they come, and let's make this. And this is still the same way. Mm-hmm. We still made the bulk of the album amongst us, but we left certain songs open because we knew we wanted to get this specific person on it.
I think that should be the name of the next album. We don't care what happened when he gets here.
And so that was the idea: is how can we make the next the 40 Acres better? And that's, I think, to be more inclusive to the rest of the guys, because I mean, Still spits, man. Mm-hmm. He's a lyrical motherfucker, and Clutch, he's a dope rapper too, man. And that energy that they bring, not just to the song, but just around us. It's a good family vibe, and they're my brothers, man. To do anything else without them, you know, it would be a disservice to the fans who love Nappy roots. Sure. We're trying to do something new, but at the same time, we still tied to what made us who we are, you know. Yeah. So that's kind of what that whole idea of bringing more of Nappy roots to this another 40 Acres is like, you know.
For sure. So, for you guys, man, what was the thought process, and this is for Peter as well as, you know, the members of Nappy Roots, the thought process behind coming together for the Front Porch Ale, which is a special release ale that they brought out.
It is great.
Nah, you ain't lying. That beer was good as hell.
And it ain't even really, like, no, a lot of times, you know, people do these projects to promote something. I don't feel like this was done to promote the album per se as much as it was like, oh, y'all cool, you cool. Yeah. Let's come together and do something different.
Yeah, it's a passion of ours as a group. We drink a lot of beer.
Scales is definitely a quality craft beer.
You've seen me drink.
I can vouch for Scales on that.
Hell, I just ran into him at the craft beer place.
Yeah,
you know,
that spot is dope too. Either. Georgia Beer Garden.
Yeah,
check it out if you're ever in Atlanta.
It's on Edgewood.
Right on Edgewood. But I know me personally, I have a strong passion for beer. Like, I'm part of beer communities and stuff, and just like trying different beers and just getting into it, like really getting into the makings of it. And our good friend Robbie C4 Belts, He was Peter's former roommate, and so he kind of introduced us to Monday Night Brewery. And from there, we just went over to talk and have a couple of drinks, which turned into a lot of drinks. And before you know it, we brewing our own beer. And Peter can explain more on it, man. But it's a great beer.
We had a lot of beers.
Oh my God! Real fast though.
Very fast.
The strong stuff. But I mean, like you guys said it best. Like the idea about a collaboration isn't always about what you can get from someone else, whether it's supporting your brand, expanding your reach. For me, it's more about sharing of like information. And when you see guys like Nappy Roots that have been around for 20 years and now they're independent, they're doing the way they want to do it. They're making their own sound, their own like real lifestyle. And to me, that's my passion. I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. As an artist, as anything, honestly, that's what we all strive for as we get older, become completely independent. So when they came by, Robbie, my roommate, C4 Belts, worst roommate ever, but he's a great guy, man. What's up, Robbie? But no, him and I talked on the weekend. He was like, sat down with Nappy Roots, had a beer. They were drinking yours. Let's talk. Next thing you know, we get a little drunk. Ideas get thrown around. But Scales like blew me away. He was like, he knew more about beer than some of my employees. Yeah. Which is a little concerning for my employees.
A lot of experience, bro.
Or him. I don't know which one.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Depends on the perspective.
If you need a job at Monday night.
It's very sincere, man. Like, I was very curious. They answered a lot of questions for me. And the whole setup of Monday Night Brewing Company is like so much similar to what we do. They not chasing fame. Like, it's about the quality over the quantity, and that's kind of what we do, too.
I mean, Skinny said it best with his amazing metaphors, that, like, you don't always, swing for the fence. If you try to do that, either you're living in the world of imitation or you're living in the world of innovation. Innovation can oftentimes be that home run. But what happens if your innovation isn't that great? What if all of a sudden you strike out or you just go for a pop fly? So for me, it's about imitating to the point when you get the actual ability, the knowledge to say, I understand these fundamentals so well. I'm done doing layups. I'm time to dunk. So when they came by and they had ideas, we didn't want to, redesign the wheel. Start with the pale ale. Do something that wouldn't ostracize anyone. Something that was right down the middle of the road. Right. Get as many people as possible because you don't know always what they want. So make something that everyone can get down with. And the front porch pale ale, my God. That is delicious.
And we got more coming, man.
There was a lot of things that from the making of the beer to the actual label that took cues from the album. Talk a little bit about that.
Just the making of the beer, again, piggyback on what he was saying. I wanted to make something that was still Nappy Roots, but still was still their brand as well. So we wanted to tie in, and it's funny with the actual beer, like if the little details on it, the minor details that no one really knows is like it's 40 IBUs, which is for the 40 acres. It's got a golden color, which kind of represented the color of the album and the hog. So he took all of the ideas of what we had with this new project, and he made that. He literally took those ideas and helped come up with a recipe for this new beer. And that was, it's just like the subtle things that we had going on when we were talking together about that they were able to put together into this beer and make it something unique and cool. And it's just little things like that really they hit home for me. And I thought it was like, these are people we want to continue to do work with because they're about just collaboration. They understand the idea that this is something creative and cool and new. And it ain't about like where the dollar signs on it and all this stuff like that. It was just about making something cool. And And I think once we put together the event to go with it, it all worked out pretty well, more than I could have ever imagined for an album release, because we sat around for a long time thinking about what are we going to do that's different for this album release, and how are we going to do something that is unique and ain't just a bunch of dudes sitting in the studio playing records. Like, we wanted something that's Nappy Roots, and Nappy Roots is always hasn't really done the norm of most hip-hop groups and most Southern groups. So doing this at a brewery, making a beer to go with it, to go with the release, it felt right. And it was kind of like, and as we kept working and being there, and we actually sat there and made the beer, We sat there, spent about a good 6-7 hours putting in the hops, and you could taste some of our blood, sweat, and tears.
Like, remind us of what's in the beer. Like, what ingredients did you use for our sleuth tongues out there?
Man, there are 0 bits of blood. There are 0 bits of sweat.
We don't want
that's a little
Fulton County.
precursor to all that. Yeah. Y'all are super safe drinking this, but I just want to touch on one thing before I get to that question. Like Blake was saying, that the ideas are insidious. It's like Inception. You plant this one little idea about what it could be, or what do you want it to be at its core, and then from there you extrapolate. So looking at their album, seeing what they had going on, picking out those little details that you knew that you could mimic, that you could bring in, understanding both the beer and the music in this case, and just bringing them together. It was amazing how, like you said, these tiny little details that if you really knew about the beer, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is super intentional. But for us, I mean, you think about beer. Beer's got really like 5 major ingredients. You got water, you got barley, so your malts. You got hops, you got yeast. And then, in this case, a lot of love. No blood. But from there, it's a simple idea. Everything looks complicated because the machinery you use is like a multi-million-dollar erector set. You mess something up, you got to go work on your resume because you're fired. But for us, I mean, we got 2 systems. We have everything in a brewery runs off this measurement of barrels, a barrel being 31 gallons. Our big setup there is a 30-barrel system. So every time we produce one batch, it's about 10,000 bottles. Once again, don't make a mistake. But the small system we have, which is a direct representation of the big one in regards to flavor, just smaller volumes, that was 155 gallons. So you look at that, you're like, all right, that's manageable. Each keg's got about 160 some odd beers in it. So from there, it was we thought for a second, we don't really do this for anyone. Especially like when we do small batches, it's just for us. We're trying to figure out what works. But sometimes you just got that feeling, you meet a girl that first night and you're like, all right, this could work. all right, I see you, girl. I see you.
Right. She gonna let me hit tonight.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna take it slow because I can wipe this woman.
Stay cool.
Keep it
I'm
calm.
an opportunivore. Come on.
Opportunivore. I like that one. I might have to add that to the repertoire. Yeah, man. That's dope, though. So for you guys, man, was it at all any kind of second guesses like, hip-hop, beer, this ain't St. Ides. This is like, we might want to do.
At a full disclosure and honesty, we tried to do this with another company.
What?
We did. We
Interview
tried,
over.
We tried a couple months
I'm
ago
outta here.
to do it with another company. We started the process when we was on our January Colorado run, and we came up on a brewery. Very cool. I mean, the setup was. It was a craft brew setup. They were very open and was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And we was like, all right, let's do it. And then
So
we
you're
left.
saying that Great Divide fucked up?
Well, because we wasn't there. We didn't come up. We didn't show back up the next day.
But no, I think
We wasn't there.
I think that was one of the major things was that they're in Atlanta, we're in Atlanta, so
Right.
we could go over. I mean, we spent about 3 days just going over there,
Yeah.
from brainstorming to actually making the beer. Being able to be there in the same proximity, that makes things move way quicker than sitting over there and hoping that what you guys have talked about is going to be done and done correctly in the way that everyone is happy with the outcome of it.
Yeah, we wanted to make a beer. That was the idea a couple years ago. Let's make a beer. How do we make a beer? Well, first of all, you got to find someone who knows how to make a beer.
Right. Y'all didn't
So
want
we
to start in the kitchen?
Hell no.
That's how they started.
I mean, but that,
We started in a Bible study.
that's a lot of trial and error that we didn't have time to deal with because we're making an album and we're touring. So we thought that the company that we was working with at the time could just, let's do it. We don't have to worry about it no more. Next thing you know, there's a beer that pops up. But it's not how it works. That's not how making beer, craft beer works. I think the part of it is the craft part. There is a part of a craft that is there. I think it's a magical cohesiveness that happened when we went and met Peter and Jonathan and Adam, and we tasted. And Scales, like we do podcasts as well, and Scales for the last several podcasts would be like the beer of the day would be, and he would say Monday Night Brewery, and he would name the beer. And at that time, I'm just thinking Scales on his craft beer shit, just grabbing a 6-pack and just running with it. Not to know that at the end of the day, this would be the company that we actually end up going to. And I mean, it's almost as if we met Peter at a show and he came back there with a joint, and we smoked it, and we kicked it, we would be giving him all of our music and all of our shirts and everything. It's the same type of camaraderie and cohesiveness from a cool person.
Yeah.
And, you know, he went to UGA. Blake went to UGA. There's a lot of common, you know, denominators that settled to the bottom and you know, became foundation for what this
You can tell he is
collaboration
really
is.
a fucking rapper. Settles to the bottom. You just drop metaphors and everything, don't you?
I don't even know.
He
I'm
can't even
taking
help
notes
it.
right
I'm
now.
freestyling, man.
He speaks in prose.
Right, exactly.
But you know, it happened that way, and like I was saying before, we tried to do it with a company, and we weren't there.
Right.
And because we weren't there, you know, a lot of things fell to the wayside just because there was no one there to really follow through with it. And
This was organic.
This was meant to be, and it was organic. And,
Yeah,
it's,
and I think
this
from
is the best collaboration I could ever come with.
It went with how the album went, where we collaborated with Atlanta. Atlanta is the DNA in Atlanta is so strong in this album.
I agree.
People don't even know.
Yo, you
I agree.
absolutely right.
that-
You are
and
absolutely
so-
right.
Earth Gang.
Yeah. So what makes more sense to
What's the
collaborate?
country singer? Gareth? What's his
Gareth
name?
Asher.
Asher,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Both. I always get his name. Forte Bow.
Forte Bow, yeah.
Friend of the show.
And it's
Forte
like
dope as fuck.
dope.
what's even cool about Monday Night is that they genuinely love and care for the direction of this city and seeing this city go in the right place. And they're very big in the community. They're very big with they rep Atlanta hard. Yeah. And so to find a great brewery that did that, I just felt like it's like, you don't get no better perfect match than what we already were working on. To be able to create a beer with them was like it's a no brainer to me, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, they swiped right. They saw us. They liked it. But at the same time, guys, we all know
Beer
one
girl.
true thing is that people talk and follow through is everything.
Right.
Very few people do that. They talk over a couple of drinks. That bar talk. Man, you could go recreate the internet with the ideas that people have over the fourth drink. Oh my God! But at the end of the day, like, share ideas. If it works out, if you realize that your ideas are matching in line with what they got going on, you have your own thing. Just come together. So we literally looked at the schedule the day that we met after the conversations. We're like, all right, scratch that, free up the schedule. Let's do this. Because the more you sit around, the likelihood of it not
people
happening.
love to have meetings about meetings. Like, this shit is crazy.
But it's crazy because it was the next day. Yeah. Like, we got so hammered. Like, all right, they had their Monday night evening thing. We went there. We was there like Monday at noon.
We was there at 10 a.m.
Yeah, 10
Yeah, but the
a.m.
next on Tuesday we was there at 10 in the morning making the beer that we talked about the day before.
That shit is
But
beautiful.
the funny thing is
And it
that
was like, it was automatic. Like, come in here. I was a little bit late. And I come in there and Blake and Scales are already throwing, you know, the hops in the thingy. I don't know the names of the
we
equipment.
started.
Thingy, yes.
See, to me, I know this
I ran
better
out of
than
words
most
right there.
people because I do it all the time too. I talk some shit when I'm drunk, and the next day I'm like, I don't know. But that day, after that next morning, we got started about 8:30. Even before they showed up, we're like, this is happening. Whether or not they're going to be here, we like the idea because for us, we got a new location open up. We're from Atlanta. We're true to Atlanta. I live in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. This is my home. Like Blake was saying, I want to be a shepherd to see how this city expands.
That's beautiful.
Because if you're not there to control what it goes to, it could turn into anything, something that you might not be proud of. But we're thinking to ourselves, we're like, what would be a cool way to put us on the map, to align ourselves with someone that we truly respect, and then at the same time create something together that is unique. And it's not the idea that we're making a pale ale that's unique. The idea is that there are two completely separate artists coming together to do something that really they are still both trying to explore. For them, they got an album. They have all that work. They got the release coming up. For us, it's another beer, but at the same time, this beer is going to have more of a focus than it ever should have, just by being what it was without them behind it.
And one thing I appreciate about it is, like, it all actually makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, so many times we'll see in hip-hop where, you know, a company they'll just throw money at an artist. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They'll be like, bruh, Future don't wear no damn Reeboks. He don't even rap about Reeboks. He rap about 20, you know what I'm saying, about $2,000 sneakers. That man do not wear Reeboks. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So this actually, like, makes sense. Where it's like, yes, I can imagine myself drinking some Monday night to, you know, Nappy Roots. This actually makes sense.
Definitely. Switching gears a little bit back to the album, man. One thing I noticed, and shout out to Blake for producing the whole joint. The album is very smooth sonically, but the things you guys are talking about are very serious, with the exception of like 2-3 songs. So, like, what was the vibe in creating? I know you said y'all worked on it for about a year and a half. What was the vibe in creating the album? Because y'all touch on police brutality, you touch on family things, you touch on just personal self shit that men go through. Y'all touch on a lot of different topics.
Well, thank you for really listening to the album.
For sure.
I appreciate that, man.
Nah, it's funny. We sat around when we were coming up with this project, and so many rappers tell you about where they going or what these fantasy lives. I was like, tell me exactly where you are right now. I mean, that was a big thing. Was like, tell me. I want when you get on here and we get in here. I want to know where you are right now, where you're feeling, how you feeling, like day to day. Be relatable. Be honest. Be honest on the record. Tell them the good and bad of life. I mean, you guys, they're in their I ain't gonna say their age, and they're
grown ass men.
They're grown ass men. They late 30s and
early 40s.
The same shit that doesn't that
you already said we was in the game for 20 years.
Yeah, I know.
Shit.
But it's true.
When I started. I'm a grown ass man. I'm cool with it.
In hip hop, one of the biggest things that I've seen that I've kind of had a hard time grasping my head around is like once rappers get to an older age. It's like, where do they go from here? And it's really becoming a struggle for a lot of people that were popping when they were young, and they was talking about the dope, talking about doing all this. But once that's all done, where do you go from there? Like, how do you continue to be an effective artist when everything that you built your career on is no longer there no more?
You know what's weird? It's so, and I do want you guys to continue this stream of thought. I think this interview has been sponsored by Monday Night Brewing because that's how this whole thing is going, for sure. But it's crazy. Like, we do a big event in Atlanta called Cali Picnic, 5,000 people out the whole nine, and we would just talk. We had YG out this year, and I'm like, love YG. My mama's from Compton, fucking 4 blocks from where he grew up from. But I was like, honestly, bro, the only rapper that I can think of that has been in the game for a while that I can relate to, my big brother can relate to, and my 18, 19-year-old cousins can relate to from a musical perspective, not a he's cool and he's rich perspective, is 40.
E40?
That's it. Like, that I can
West
think
Coast?
of. Yeah.
Ice Cube.
Young kids don't care about Ice Cube. He ain't had a hitting forever.
Too short? No.
You play Function anywhere, they
yeah.
go.
But
You
it's,
play
I mean,
Remember that time we saw
anywhere,
Ice Cube?
they go.
E40 perform in L.A.?
And it was like a bunch of 20-year-olds in the audience. It was crazy.
But it was actually a lot of like Latinos out there, man. It was stupid. I was like, what?
But that's
it's amazing.
And that was like 8 years ago.
But that's a problem
bananas.
I think we have to figure out in hip hop.
I'm sure there's somebody else, but just off the top of my dome, because he can, and I think it's because Droop is young, his son, and then he has another son that's like 21. So, and they all make music together,
right?
So it kind of keeps him going, and he don't try to be a youngster.
And the Bay Area, it's a strong independent scene, and they support their own artists, similar to Atlanta,
right?
You know, and they have a very strong love for people that are from there. They give back, and the Bay and that whole area is a very
people don't pay attention to
non-confrontational. Like E40 is not confrontational. He's not a I'm gonna shoot you, kill you, motherfucker. I got keys in the trunk. He's not one of those rappers.
Not no more. Not no more.
He's flamboyant, Mr. Flamboyant, you know.
But I mean, but
He go back.
And you know, bring the yellow tape. I know about E40 all day. I'm from Louisville. We love the click. But E40, you might be right. And I would look at that
there
as
might be somebody else, but I can't
actually
think
had
of
lunch here with E40 at what's the shit on MLK?
Pascal's.
No.
Mr. Everything?
Oh no, Busy Bee.
Busy Bees. Is that on MLK?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I had
hold on, with J Rock and them was there?
I was with Orlando McGee.
I was there.
You was there?
Yeah, I was there.
He was cool as hell. Y'all for the buyers lunch. I was like, nah, I got it. I'm good. But I sat right beside him, and I felt like the man. Like, it's like me meeting 8 Ball or MJG or you know, he's a legendary
100%.
artist.
But to go back to the question about the album, like, I just thought that was really dope because people don't really think no more. They don't really give you a blend of feelings within one song. So, like, you can listen to a song that the music is very melodic, it's really chill, but y'all are talking about some real shit. So, like, was that something that was cognitive, or was that just the vibe?
I think that come with age, man, experience. Like, we just not fit to rap about no kiddie stuff. Like, somebody should, because there's a market for that.
For sure.
But that's not what we want to talk about. We watch news, we read stuff. You know, we very in tune with what's going on socially. Like, we got kids, so we're aware of what needs to happen for them to have a better future. So that comes out in the music too. And that's why we work with Blake too, because we know that our subjects that we rap about are kind of older, or, you know, it's deeper than a lot of people can go. But Blake gives us production that, like, it's going to catch your ear first. And you might not hear the message until like the third or fourth time, but the beats that he gave us on this album is just like, man, whether you can go deep enough with what we're talking about or not, you still can enjoy the music.
It's our version of subliminal messages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Gotcha.
the beat's going to be banging, so you're going to be bobbing your head regardless. But when you start to really sit down and listen to what's being said, you're like, oh, I didn't see that at all coming from this type of beat. You know, I'm waiting for somebody to dance or some bottles to get popped, and all of a sudden I'm getting some knowledge dropped on me real quick without, and it's a subtleness about that, and I think it's a way that we can get across where we are and be relatable without being, oh man, they old, I can't listen to them no more. So it's kind of making that balance, you know what I mean?
You got to stay cool, man. Like, you got to be somewhat cool. You got to ask kids what's going on.
100%.
Like, you got to go to the club or the bar where they dancing at. I know I do that once a month just to see how kids are dancing.
Yeah.
Just to see what makes them dance. And so, you know, we got a lot of that on the album, too.
My process was a little bit different when I make albums. Now, I block everything out. I don't listen to no one's album. I don't care who's dropping. I try not to get caught up in who's coming out right now. And I look at it from a longevity perspective. Blake, he's always been ahead of the game. He's playing shit that he likes, but then 2 or 3 weeks later, I hear it on the radio. And it's like, damn, this motherfucker was right. I didn't like it at first, but because I heard it so much, now it bops. But with
What's the record?
what's the one you was just playing with Rillo? Yeah, I just heard it today on the radio. I was like, this. All my friends are dead. I was like,
Oh, that little Uzi Vert.
Yeah, Uzi Vert.
but he was playing that shit like 3 weeks ago, and they might have been working it a month ago, but I'm just not hearing it on
That is some sad shit to
107.9.
be on the radio.
It's terrible, but it was bopping.
Yeah.
His song ain't terrible. It was bopping, but he was playing it 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, he's on to some shit. But for us, and what I knew that Blake would give us is he would give us an unfiltered. He wouldn't just. He's not a yes dude. He's not gonna say, oh yeah, let's just
He
fuck it.
ain't a beat maker.
Oh,
He's
man.
a producer.
He's a producer. He wants to make the best product for his name is on it just as much as ours. So he
sure.
cares just as much about this shit
I
as I
feel
do.
like he's a member of the group.
He
Like,
is.
for real.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, this is 40 Acres. It's Blake making the beats exclusively, and it's Skinny and Scales killing it. You know, whatever the concept is whatever. And if we feel like we need to get someone to help us out or to help make it colorful, you know, let's do that. When we do Nappy Roots music, when we did it in the older albums, we didn't really have no features on it because it was so many of us fighting for the spot.
That's like
Why?
Wu-Tang with features. That shit
Why?
don't make
Why
no
get a
sense.
feature? If I can kill it, I'm gonna kill it, and then we're not gonna leave no room for nobody else. But with 40 Acres, we give the tracks room to breathe, you know, and after that we figure out let's get so and so on it. Like Kraft. Kraft is a good friend of ours.
He killed that
and
shit.
Kraft is the one that actually got us up with 808 Blake. You know, he's the one. If it wasn't for Kraft, we wouldn't know who 808 Blake was because 808 Blake made Donkey Kong. And Kraft was on a roll with us. And when Kraft came out, he had 3 songs to play. And one of those was You're Gonna Love Me. One of those was Donkey Kong. And one of those was probably another song that he just had to slide in there. But Donkey Kong, that shit was banging. That shit was killing everything we've done. And we had every producer you can think of that we worked
Right.
with at the show. We was throwing darts, we was throwing wiffle balls, we was throwing pine cones, we was throwing everything at the wall, old noodles. We was trying to make everything stick. And this dude comes in with Donkey Kong and don't.
You gotta start throwing barrels.
Man,
Right.
I threw a
You gotta
picnic
be an
table at
OG to
somebody
get that
one time.
reference.
Man, this track's here to save the princess.
Man, we you know, and because in that era of being independent and not being on Atlantic and having control, we were just trying to figure out our place in hip hop as well and still compete and with the new age of music and consumers. You know, as music changes, so does the listener, you know. And what we're dealing with now is Nappy Roots is our fan base who liked us in 2002. They don't buy shit no more. They got kids that are going to college.
Right.
They're going into high school. They got real bills.
Gotta put that
As you get older,
$15 in the gas.
man, as you get older, you don't buy music as much as you did when you had disposable income. And as our older fans bought CDs and they don't know how to download shit on their phone. And I have, like my sister, she's young, but she doesn't,
teaching their fans how to like go
she
find
doesn't
that
do
music.
shit.
is
She doesn't
top
like
five, one of
change.
the
My
hardest
sister
things
doesn't
in the
like
world.
change. She wants to buy a CD. And it's like, sis, there's no places to buy CDs no more. I don't know what to tell you because we're not making CDs.
We get a message every day on Facebook. It's like, well, I don't really like iTunes.
But you
Yeah,
know
it's
what
like,
though?
God damn it.
I'm gonna tell you.
Get with the fucking time.
Hold on, but I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something though.
I'm like, bless your
straight
heart.
up though. I feel like you're doing a disservice ignoring what those people want.
Of course,
Because to an extent, especially if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't know how to mix and master for digital, the shit sounds way better on CD. Absolutely. And just like vinyl made a comeback, CDs will make a comeback. They ain't really fucking going nowhere because we've spent thousands of dollars invested in these shits. I'm not throwing them away.
No, we still sell CDs at a show, but I mean, the price of trying to put a CD in a store.
You gotta send them to Amazon, man.
You are right though. Like as a business, you got to look out for all customers. Customers are always right. And if that's what they want, then you got to find a way to get it to them. But they make me mad, yo. I get mad.
We're going to do a tutorial tomorrow on Facebook about how to properly download a CD.
The market
it's a two-step process.
That's
two-step
what we
process.
Do. Next video we do need to be
we're not going to do a music video. It's going to be like,
on how to listen to music other than a CD.
That could be a music.
You could be like, listen here, you old school motherfucker.
Push power on your phone. Push power. Go to settings.
Yeah,
but then you got to pray they got Facebook or Twitter, and then that's
that might need to be the next music video
people,
treatment. Period. The next music video treatment. You know what I'm saying?
That would be dope.
That is dope. Some people just probably need to be left behind. If you don't have a Facebook or some
you
kind
can't
of
say that about
media,
your fans,
it's
man.
time to move on, bro. It's time.
If you still sign up to our fan club, you might have a problem.
If you're looking at MySpace, something is
I'm
not
just saying.
right.
Yo,
if you wait,
y'all are wild.
If you waiting on our fan club emailer to mail you to your house, you are not what we're talking about. But the whole thing I'm saying is you have to adapt to the change in times. And as a new listener, like I have a son, he's 17.
Yeah,
he's a junior in high school. But when we started this, I brought him to my first photo shoot, and he was 1.
Yeah,
and he's seen Dad's career. And he calls me father. He tries to be so like, father, I'm going outside. I'm like, damn, like call me pops at least. No, he does.
Sent him to them good schools.
He does it to be
That's
funny.
what it
Now,
is.
actually goes to Langston Hughes, and shout out to those the Langston Hughes. But I want to say because there was a real bad accident that happened yesterday, and 4 Langston Hughes students got killed.
Damn. I heard. And
it's real bad. They ran into a
truck.
truck.
Real bad one in North Fulton and South Fulton.
South Fulton, yeah, that's when my son went to that school, and one of the kids was in his home room. But to say that is, he's seen a lot of things in the comings and goings of my life.
Yeah, and
I got to look at him as my gauge. He's like tells me when the gas light is on, type of gauge. Like if he's not bopping to it and he don't care, I'm like, okay, this ain't the song we need to probably play. But what do you think about this? He's like, it's cool. If it's cool, that's a thumbs up. Yeah. If you don't tell me shit, we need to go back to the drawing board.
But it's funny
He's
because
like,
Father,
this track is whack.
It bops, Father.
And that's
but he does it to be funny though, because he knows it pisses me off. I'm like, call me Dad at least.
That's
still
the
calling
beauty
me
of
Dad.
it though, because you got somebody in the house that's unbiased that'll listen. Because I feel like a lot of times you could do this if y'all and Drake made the same exact song, same flow, same beat. They're the same person would be like, oh, this shit is the shit because it's Drake. But they'd be like, they hear from you, be like, I don't know, that sound kind of
Well, this is the other point. It's like longevity, and because I look at artists like Blake, which goes back to the song that I was talking about, is he say, yo, this is hot, it's about to jump. And I'm looking at him like, but where's he going to be in 5 years? Where's he going to be in 10? Where's this artist going to be after he makes it, loses it? gets hooked on drugs, and then
this
comes
the thing,
back.
though, son. I don't think that there's a such thing as a quote unquote one hit wonder up and down. Like, you kind of have to go out of your way to fall off the map because the way things are set up now, you can drop a song, 10 people are going to like it. And they gonna tell the other 10 people, it's like they gonna hold on to that forever. You have to kind of go out of your way to be like,
but also,
one hit wonder. Like,
but it's measured on followers and likes now.
Okay.
But
so
also,
if you don't get those likes,
you gotta think about this though.
You don't make it to the next level as a
5 years when y'all came out and y'all had platinum joints, and 5 years now are different. Hip hop is in dog years now. Yeah. 5 years now is like 6 months. Right. Like.
Hamster
you can
years.
come out with a
years,
you
bro.
can come out with a hit May
Goldfish
1st.
years.
May
goldfish
1st,
years.
like a real legit hit. I'm talking about you everywhere. And by December, people like, what happened to Cuz?
I know.
And that's crazy.
That's so infuriating to what we do as artists.
But it's crazy. Like
spent a year and a half making this bitch, and it's already old to some people.
Nobody knows
Nah,
that.
that's
though.
old, cuz. It just came out last week. What are you talking about?
Nobody knows that
I know.
you spent that this song has been out for 2 years.
Because you see
and
artists
it
make
finally caught on 3 weeks ago.
Well, you think about artists that make mixtapes in 2 weeks. Yeah. I put this together in 2 weeks and it's out. And then they come back around and they do it again in 3 weeks from now. Like, I feel for like artists like Scotty ATL who's on the album.
Right.
He's not gonna be where we have been because the times have changed.
Right.
But he has to put out so much music now just to get in and be recognized and to compete. There's so many artists have to compete every day, and we're not set up even still now. It's like we make records. We have records right now that we're holding on to, but
I think
to
people
put them
gotta,
out would be an injustice to
I
the
think
effort
people
that we
gotta
make.
understand, and I think, and he's been on the show too. I think Scotty has and he might understand. I don't know. I haven't seen him in forever, but people gotta understand that Scotty ATL is not competing with Lucci or Cardi or Future. Right. He might be as cool as them. He might not. He might look like them. But that ain't the line, and he might hit some of their fans. But he ain't competing with them. His
like more like
a Crit,
like
Crit. I think
Crit.
Like he's like a ATL.
He's gonna be here.
Not to say that Crit ain't cool, but like a cooler, younger.
He's gonna be here for a while because his work ethic.
Streeter,
He's cool as hell. His work ethic, who he surrounds himself with, he gets it. Scotty ATL gets it. But the amount of music that he has to put out versus the amount of music that we have to put out is what the new generation versus the old generation is dealing with. If you're an older generation like us, you're not really trying to put out as much music as you can versus the quality of music that we're putting out now. Right. I'd rather put out quality than a bunch of shit that no one's going to care about just for the sake of.
You got to get to the point where you can do that though. Like that's the thing. You got to have stripes in order to do that. Like. Yeah. You even somebody, we mentioned him earlier, like Dot, like dude, he was putting out material like a motherfucker, and then when he got on, was like, I can drop something every 2 years.
And it's like speaking of which, man, at work, what I'm saying, Peter back in, it's like craft brewery is like that's the cool thing now. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the shit. And I remember a lot of folks got mad. What was it, Super Bowl 2 years ago when Budweiser was like, we're a craft brew too. You know, so I was like, what?
Fuck out of here.
So it's like, so how do you feel about,
Don't even get me started on that.
You done pissed Pete off.
But I mean, you're totally onto something right now because there's always the bubble, right? It's hot. People want to jump on board. Either you're there before or you pick up the tail after. But I know that the market, both with music and with beer, whatever's consumable through your ears, your mouth, whatever, it's a saturated market.
Yep.
So I find that when I try to compete with my direct competition, I do not do my greatest work. And I found that internally, so I've tried to share that with my team. Whenever they talk about what our competition's doing, I'm like, you're about to become a horse in New York City. I'm about to put some blinders on you. We're going to go one direction. You're not going to look
shit
at
in a
anything
bag
else.
because carry people around.
I've found that with our brand, that when we try to compete with others, we do not do our best work because we got them in our brain. They're already in our brain. They're already fucking up our head. Scratch that to the side. The market is saturated. But if you step back, you have a reputation, you're true, you're loyal to yourself, you're loyal to your fans, then just work on what's next for you. Because maybe you're got the right thing that people actually look to you for what the influence is going to be for the future. Yeah. You never know. Sometimes people truly believe in you and they see you as just that one stable thing in a world that's constantly changing.
And that's real because, like, sometimes when I go out of town, like, I legit be mad when I can't find certain beers. And I have to remind myself, like, oh, shit, I'm not at home. You know what I'm saying? I could go somewhere else.
That's
Like,
real.
what? Y'all don't sell drafted kilt in this bitch? What kind of business are you running? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what the fuck you talking about, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Right, exactly.
Man, I'm going to hire
Smoke,
scales
nigga.
and you're going to work sales.
Yeah, we're gonna work it. One fun fact about craft beer: hops is the cousin to cannabis, right?
It is.
Yeah, and they both like growing. My question is, like, and I'm gonna ask Peter, do you think it's gonna continue to grow like craft beer?
Absolutely. Right now, the bubble exists, but with inside of that bubble, there are brands or styles like IPAs. We all know that IPAs are hot.
Right.
Looking at the trends, when you look at the analytics that we know that's so readily available, this is a digital world.
Yeah.
You can pick it up anywhere if you're willing to look.
Yeah.
You can see that it's still moving in a direction that's right, but what if you were one of those few that got there before everyone else realized it was the next thing?
Yeah.
Same with
That's
cannabis.
the goal, is that when you sit there trying to imitate what's already hot, you might be, depleting your resources and your creativity for figuring out what's the next hot thing. People look to you as a trendsetter, as someone that they can trust. So sometimes when you step back, when people say, I don't understand this, I think to myself, perfect.
Right.
Good. Take a second.
On the
Drink it again.
on the business side and the creative side, there's so many similarities between making music and making beer. The one thing we talked about this off the air, the one thing that I find weird is I have a crew here in Atlanta and homies everywhere
What's
across
their name?
the
You
country,
gotta tell
across
them
the
the
world.
name.
We don't publicize. We don't because we
Name
might
drop.
remarket. We might rebrand. Who knows? So, but the homies, we drink craft brew. We're into good beer. Like it's not even on no like hype beast bougie shit. But if it's good, it's good. Whether that shit is $3 and 6% or $16 and 11%, we drink good beer. But I find it crazy that as many cats around the world that are, black, Latino, white, whatever, that are into hip hop, that are urban cats, that buzzword urban, that we're into it. And I know y'all, anybody that's trying to make money, you see it. But why is it that a lot of these breweries don't market to that community?
That's a really good question, and that's a dangerous question too.
We all about danger here. Fuck it.
So, I mean, here's the idea for me. Like, oftentimes I really look at just the baseline between gender. I'm like, I know that most women state they don't really like dark beer. And I'm like, okay, well, how about you try a drafty kill? Because it doesn't drink like a dark beer.
Right.
Expand your horizons. The second that you say you don't like something, more than likely you're not going to go expanding your horizons. But
Right.
I don't want to make
Or
a
you've never
beer-
tried it and somebody told you shouldn't drink it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's...
Sipped it, and that wasn't enough to get
Right.
you where you
Like you drink a rum and Coke and that's way more calories than your average beer, but you think that you'll get a beer belly from drinking a beer.
But with me, stereotypes, those are usually established by people that are not current. It's people from the past. So why play into what they thought when they didn't understand what was happening in the present? I don't want to make a beer that's designed for one person. I want to make a beer that's designed for everyone. I think of beers as, if it's going to be too bitter, that's already a group I'm removing, and it's a group I'm adding. Are they equal? Never. If it's too high in alcohol, or it's too low in alcohol, how does that affect the price point? There's so many different ways you could look at it, but at the end of the day, you'll never make one thing that everyone loves.
Right.
So the goal is to make something that you want to consume, and at the same time, hope that everyone else does. Because if you're making it for someone else, it's never going to be the best.
Right.
Wow, that's crazy you say that, man, because like 5 years ago when me and our manager, Chris Weeks, was talking about getting a beer, one of our main goals was to introduce craft beer to black people, to the black community, because...
But it's there.
Yeah,
It's just,
there.
it ain't, it's a disconnect somewhere.
It is a disconnect, and that should be spoken on, too. And like, we love carrying bottles, like the 750 milliliters. You get that $20 in the club instead of $100 bottle of vodka, and we can hold it all night. Like,
Man, I'm going to be
that's
putting
some
this-
market
real
I'm
for
gonna be
shit.
putting some money in there, brewing some 750 bottles.
750s, man. That was our vision. Like, man, black people we will hold that shit all night, and it will cost much less than liquor. And if you get this Belgian style, you'll be fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's
But it means-
Get you a fuck around and get a
It's
quad
funny
or
that
a
you
trip
say
or
that you're,
some shit.
you're talking to your
fucked up
manager
now.
5 years
I'm
ago
playing,
about
I'm
how
playing.
to expose, the black community to craft beer, but in my mind, I think that what Nappy Roots did with us is exactly how you expose whatever community you want to it. You don't just say, try this. It costs more, so why would you want to go get it when you know you can go get something for cheaper? It's the same alcohol, but bring it around something other than the product. Bring it around the vibe. Bring it around the people that it attracts. Bring it around the location that you go to. Because what you guys did 2 weeks ago with us, that brought more exposure than anything that anyone could have said on any form of branding, because branding is script or copy. When you have an experience, that is the absolute marketing. That is it right there.
You 100% right, because it's not, and I think that's where a lot of people miss the boat, because it ain't about the music. It's not about the stereotypical shit that brands use to market to the black community. It's about the energy. It's about the vibe. It's about the experience. Yeah. And you 100% right with that.
Everything is about the experience.
One more beer question. Go ahead. Oh yeah. One more beer question, man. I would say 3 years ago, maybe, we started having like hip hop, we started having these big companies come through buying the successful craft breweries across the country. Like, hey, we'll give you a 360 deal. Come on over here. You know what I mean? How do you, as a company that you're the brewmaster for a company that is fiercely independent, started out independently, y'all still doing your thing and doing well. How do you feel about that? Because it's like, it's hard to walk away from that check, especially if you still have some creative control, but at the same time, a lot of people look at you, a la like Goose Island, whatever, is like, damn, man, y'all kind of sold out.
I mean, it's a good point, but we're all economists and we're all artists. If that number comes across the table,
everybody has
that
a
magic number.
Price.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what you say. You're like, oh, I would never do that. Bullshit. Let's be real. But at the same time, you can always determine how you're going to get there if that's your goal. Right now, that is not our goal. We don't need that. We don't strive to be a national brand. We want to stay true to the South. So we also know that if we expand, our borders bigger than our army, we're all students of history. We know what happens. You shouldn't go into Russia. Germany fucked up. At the same time, for us, we want to stay at least close enough to where we can make sure that our product is exactly what we think it is, what we want it to be. When it leaves your backyard, it's hard. Yeah. So for me, if that number ever came across the table, I know our business partners, our founders, they would look at it. But at the same time, it's always, who are you selling to? Sometimes are you giving up? Because if the price is so right, you're not giving up. They're just seeing the worth that you already know that you have. If they lowball you, then, hey, thank you, but no thank you.
Right.
Good luck. But for us, that's not really on our radar. It's flattering if anyone ever came to us and gave us that number. We expect it to be large. Anheuser-Busch, come on. But
so 1.5 billion?
Man, 1.5 billion? Are you kidding me? I would be like, okay.
I'd be like, hey, Dollar Pete, hey, hello?
Man, $1.5 billion, I would wake up in a new Bugatti, all right?
I woke up in a new Bugatti. So, obviously, you guys are, we have listeners all across the world, man. If they did want to buy your brew, other than coming to Atlanta, is there any way they can get it online? Is there any of that? Or they got to come out here?
You got to come to the brewery.
You got to come to the brewery, come to the state of Georgia, state of Alabama. Right now, beer's got a crazy behind-the-scenes trading game.
Oh, I'm already knowing.
Beers that you buy for $8 that you get them there. That there's this idea of scarcity or perceived scarcity, which always increases the sell point. But people trade beers for crazy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You should see some of the stuff. It's like in search of this for trade that, and they're like in
I'm
search
from
of
the Bay, and I, whenever I go home, I'll bring back some Pliny the Elder, and motherfuckers be
my God,
and I'll be like, this
gold.
Shit is dead ass okay. Like it's not.
It's
people Heady
don't
Topper
know because they can't get it.
Heady Toppers, it's cool, but it ain't like. Damn, it's great.
Hold up. No, I can't let you say that.
It's
a little
good.
more than cool.
It's good.
It's top 3 to me. It's
IPAs or period?
Okay, I guess you could say IPA, but
it's top 3.
That's definitely a top 5.
And that's like
IPA.
a Vermont beer for those who not
But also
familiar.
IPAs, like you have to get them as fresh as possible. So maybe by the time that you get them, it's not really what it is. It's all about the hype. Everyone knows that you live and you ride off of hype.
Yeah.
If you have a reputation, like you said, the rule of tens, 10 tells 10. That extrapolates. Next thing you know, you got people on each end of the continent looking for what you have, what you're making.
Right.
Either they come to you or they search for it. But at the same time, those are people that are kind of living off of what other people say. To me, I personally disagree with that. It's always good to listen, but formulate your own opinions after you
Yeah, because
experience
I noticed that
it.
'cause, like, every city I go to, I try to like find out like, all right, what's
Same
the
here.
local thing, and sometimes they'll talk down on it. You know what I'm saying? Because like they'll be like, man, you might as well drink some river water, bro. You know what I'm saying? Shit nasty as hell. And I'll taste it for myself.
Because they're
like,
used to it.
It's
It's
different
all right.
levels, I'm sure. Like the locals, they got the good local, the bad
Yeah,
local.
the good logo to bad.
But- And you
Exactly.
gotta
We
support
travel a
local,
lot,
though.
man. So I take the trading very seriously. I just don't make it back with it. Shit, I've been drank it before I get back. But yeah, I hit the growler shot over the spot over by 10 Lizzie's on Memorial. They got a cool little growler shop we can hit one day. But I try to trade with them sometime. But yeah, it's hard to make it back with it, man.
For sure, because you want to drink, you want to try. You got to double. It was one to drink, one to put on ice.
But I mean, like beer,
That's where it
music,
starts.
Yeah,
beer and music, they go hand in hand. In the
They
sense
really
that, like,
do.
if you don't try something you haven't been exposed to before, you're not going to understand how to get to the next place. So always just
100%.
keep sampling, keep listening, keep drinking, try something new. Because once you realize you don't like it, then good. That's maybe been the best, $20 you spent. If you find something that really changes your mind frame about everything and you realize that there's a whole nother side to it, or you find yourself being like 808 over here who's like, the next best thing in 3 months is going to be this. I mean, I need to talk to you about the stock market, by the way.
Right.
But I mean, really, it's just put yourself out there. Formulate your own opinions. Don't live off of what other people say because you're not them. They're not you. Figure it out.
So obviously, and I always, when people know that I'm into beer and they ask me what is my favorite beer, and I'd be like, anybody that you ask that's really into beer, they can tell you their favorite beer ain't really into beer. So tell me, I want everybody to tell me, and it can be some bullshit or some great shit. What is the one beer right now that you feel like people should try? And everybody cannot say fucking Front Porch Ale.
What was that?
Well, you can't say Front Porch Ale. Can't say your beer.
No, I'll start, and I'm dead ass serious. And it ain't just because y'all here. Like, I was dead ass serious earlier off the air when I said that Drafted Kilt in the bourbon barrel that come out around the
no,
holidays.
that shit is
He
official.
took my answer.
That shit is
Like,
official.
This is
Bruh.
skinny. He took my
And
answer.
you can get it on draft a lot of places around the,
The bourbon
city.
barrel
If you
will
ain't,
fuck you up.
if you don't live in Atlanta, you haven't got it.
Have you
But
lit?
yeah.
I'm going off the potency
Go ahead.
level because I drink shit. I'm not really an overall crazy beer drinker.
Yeah.
But I like the shit that I like.
For sure.
If I don't know what's there, I'm going for Red Stripe. And everybody in the crew
All right, so
knows I'm a Red Stripe.
Skinny say Red Stripe.
No, I don't, because he took my answer.
Reese
and
say-
I
Take
second
away his mic.
answer.
The
Take away
bourbon
his mic.
barrel
I second his
drafted
answer.
cute.
The bourbon barrel drafted kilt will fuck you up, and I love that shit.
And it's like the crazy thing about that beer, like it has me making imitation versions of. That's why when I go out, you notice like I'll get a Guinness drop.
Oh
and
yeah,
put-
yeah,
and
yeah,
put-
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
pour bullet bourbon in it.
Yeah. It ain't the same thing, but it's good enough.
You're my guy. Maurice, Mr. Garland, you said 3 key things right now.
Hey.
Bullet. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Hey.
I drink Bullet. And I like drafted
Shout out
kilt.
to my people at Guinness. Had a great time at your brewery.
It's hard to choose. I've had the Foothills down in from Asheville, North Carolina. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. And then also Aslan Brewery out of what was it, Bend, Oregon?
Aslan.
Yeah,
Ben.
Aslan's got a pretty good beer as well.
Okay.
They got great
Come on,
packaging.
Blake,
You
keep
putting me
it
on to
real.
something.
Tell them what's your.
I like heady
Man
toppers.
asked, What's your favorite beer?
or
I've
what
seen
you would
this
tell
man
somebody
drink
to drink.
So many of one certain.
Oh,
beer.
now if I'm just drinking, we just pounding beers, which I drank on Saturday. Nah, it's Coors Light all day. I'll pour me.
I've never seen nobody drink as many Coors Lights.
I'll pound me
He
some
like
Coors
the
Light.
homie Berto. Berto be on that Coors like hard, tripping,
Coors Light will keep you right here.
hilarious.
Straight up,
What's yours?
straight up.
All right, P. What's
So
up?
the real question you should be asking is, what's your favorite beer, and then what's your bottom bitch? Because we all know that 808's got his bottom bitch. That's Coors Light. He's got them silver bullets. He's got his
She's
silver
always
bullets.
there.
He's out there trying to kill werewolves. Like for me.
He said trying to kill werewolf. Hilarious, yo.
So
You got it, bro.
I got a good answer and I got an embarrassing answer.
All right.
So my bottom bitch has been, will always be, partially because of my taste and also because my distributor is a Budweiser house, is that if I'm at a place where there's nothing good, I'll go buy a Bud Light. It's predictable, keeps me there. I can have a lot of them. Nothing easy, nothing hard. It's just what it is. Now, if it's my favorite thing right now, me, truly, I really live in the world of, I try my beers all the time just to make sure they're right, but I'll go actively buy them at a bar.
Okay.
For me, I don't try to label favorites. I just want to try the next thing from the next person that's close. Support local. Absolutely. If you're not supporting local and you say that you rep your place, that you're home, you're not really doing it because these are people that got jobs, they got businesses.
But that's with anything,
always
though,
buy
Peter.
something because
That's with anything, though.
Truly,
Local.
with anything.
If you're from a city and you know someone is doing good local shit, it don't matter if it's a shirt company.
So
It don't matter if
parties,
it's a
clothes.
fucking newspaper, if it's a magazine. Support your own shit because when you try to do your shit in that same city, they'll come out and
You
support
hope
You're
for the same thing. But
100%
also,
right,
when someone asks me, they're
100%
like,
right.
Peter, what'd you think of this beer? And they're one of our local guys. I want to be able to answer them honestly. And sometimes that's a hard answer. Sometimes that's a good answer. Sometimes it's hard for me to say that beer is terrible. You should really quit doing that. And then sometimes it's also really hard to be like, that was really good. I'm kind of pissed off about how good that was.
Right.
You know, like just always.
So what was the last joint you had outside of Monday night that you was like, can you not say, is that against
And
your
this is a
contract?
beer master. Now, this
Well,
is a
I
pro.
would say that, like, in the state of Georgia, right now, Scofflaw Brewing, they're pretty
Yeah.
close to us. They're knocking out badass IPAs.
You know what's crazy though? What's their most popular IPA?
Yeah, I don't know.
That shit tastes different, like extremely different in the can than it does on draft.
That's
The
a really
can
good
is
point.
way better.
But right now, they're trying to keep up because they got hot demand. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's always hard to get your quality control program down. But
Yeah.
I know that team, they're busting their ass. They're working on
Yeah, the
weekends.
can shit that I can't remember which IPA.
Always
but
give
it's
those
official.
guys a chance. They got good things going on, but at the same
What's
time,
the name of them again?
Scofflaw.
Scofflaw Brewing.
Scofflaw.
Yeah, they're good peoples over there. That's really what I care about. Because when it comes down to it, everyone's trying to do the same thing. If you can get down with them, if you can hang out with them, that's half the battle. I can tell you, if you're an asshole and your beer tastes good, that beer's not going to taste that good.
Man.
Right. What's up?
You know what? I look at it like this. Do I want to throw up or do I want to pee a lot? That's how I weigh it up.
There's got to be somewhere in the middle,
You
Skinny.
usually choose.
I end up peeing a lot. Sometimes I throw up, though. And that's because do I want to drink beer or do I want to drink Bullet? Or vodka. I used to be a vodka dude. I used to be a vodka
I can't
dude.
even mess with vodka anymore, Charlie.
This guy, we drove.
Oh my god.
He was fucked up. We had our the day of the release. I think was it the day of the release when Blake drove and then you couldn't drive no more, so I drove. It was a 2-hour drive.
We had to go to Athens.
It was a 2-hour drive. Seemed like, and you drove the first something. It was longer than what it should have been. I ended up driving, and he was sitting in the front. He was like, "Pull over. I gotta throw up. No, I gotta pee. No, I gotta throw up."
Damn.
We pulled over. He was peeing. He was peeing and throwing up.
Hey, I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you.
But those are that mathematical equation. Do I want to throw up?
For the record, we were supposed to go to Connecticut, and I
Certain
drove to
beer makes me
Jersey,
pee a
and then
lot.
I was like, uh-oh.
He was tripping.
No, see,
Coors Light makes me pee a lot.
There is something in the middle, though. In our house, we say, you're going to pee standing up or you're going to pee sitting down. Because there's got to be the middle. If you're throwing up, that beer ain't right. You're wrong.
No. No, that's a combination of liquor and beer. But what I'm saying is, like Blake, he can drink a bunch of beer, and that'd be on a rider. Like,
How
that's
is
all he
this
drinks
turning
beer.
into an episode of Drink Champs? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, this is how we do it. This is now 40 acres in a brew. And but no,
And when are me and Maurice invited to the podcast?
yeah, you know what? We got one on Thursday.
We're going to change it to another 40
Thursday.
ounces.
Hey,
And so my thing is with beer is like I like beer that I don't have to drink a lot of because I end up peeing a lot.
Gotcha.
So if I can drink a beer that has more liquor or alcohol content and I can get fucked up off 3 or 4, I kind of lean that direction more than I drink. I
telling
can
you,
just keep
Charlie,
drinking all day beers. and
Do
then,
the Guinness with the Bullet bourbon in it, Charlie. I'm telling you. Or hell, no, for the record. Do the drafty kilt with the Bullet
No.
bourbon inside of it.
What you need to do is do an Irish car bomb, but with drafty kilt.
see,
so scales,
see?
scales.
See? Scottish car bomb?
What's your go-to that you tell people to mess with right now?
Well, bottom bitch is always Bud Light. Like you can't go wrong with that.
Okay.
If your money low, just go with Bud Light. But somebody said Guinness, and Guinness has been my number one. Like before the craft beer shit exploded,
Yeah.
Guinness was always my number one. But since somebody else mentioned it, I go with my number 2, Newcastle. Met my wife off Newcastle. It's
Okay.
a really good.
The street or the beer?
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna take that back. It recently changed to Fat Tire. Fat Tire is probably one of the best beers you can get. I love Fat Tire, and now I'm gonna try it with the bullet in it. Thanks to Mr. God.
I had the Serrano, the
Monday Night Serrano.
the eye patch.
Eye patch
You had that
Serrano?
shit? Yeah. That shit is dope.
Before I met him.
That shit is dope.
Well, you know
the
what?
peppers, you can taste the peppers and they're so distinctly.
Speaking of pepper, I got shot.
That shit is dope as
my
hell.
My wife's favorite beer right now is that Blackbird, white Blackbird Saison. I think they make it
I
here.
haven't even had
Oh
that.
yeah,
Salty.
that's Wild Heaven.
Wild, y'all, hey, that,
The funny thing about that Serrano eye patch is that I think
That would be my
myself,
best beer right now.
during the R&D phase. I think that
I heard that story, though.
Scales
I heard the
dropped in
story.
on this. You need to know it's as good going down as it could be coming back
Yeah.
up or out. When I used to make wine and I was out in Mexico, in California, all the vineyard workers would be like, "You put chili powder and a bunch of lime inside a Modelo. You drink those things all damn day, and then when you go to throw up, oh my God, no Tums will save you. You are dying. You got
Yeah.
fucking the devil's dick in your throat. It is hurting. So to me,
Pause.
Pause. Right. Pause.
But you know what? It's probably like eating a bunch of jalapeno bombers from Church's Chicken, the family
Yeah,
pack.
Fuck both of those things. I'm cool.
But no, I would
Church's
say
Chicken, support local.
my bottom bitch would
I'm
be
cool.
Red Stripe, and then it would either be
Serrano.
the Bourbon Barrel, Drafty Kilt, or the Serrano. I just had that. I was waiting. I was over there waiting on someone hit me back about a shirt that we dropped off. They weren't there. But anyway, I ended up drinking 3 Serranos, and I got a 6-pack a couple days ago. You weren't there. You was traveling. But that was like the best 6-pack I had in a long time. The flavor, like this,
I'm gonna have to try. I normally
flavor
stay
of a
away
beer. Like, you get that much flavor out
from
of
the
a beer?
peppers. I stay away
Oh my
because
God.
I've had. I think
They're not hot peppers. They're
what
just
was it?
flavors.
Just the
I think it was
essence,
the
not the
Man, it's crazy.
what's the guys out of San Diego that do Crime and Punishment? One of the biggest breweries in San Diego. Stone does one, and it was so trash. We have my crew. We have the beers that we say, oh man, that's a sink pour. Like we'll do beer shares. Be like, oh, this is some bullshit, and pour it down the sink, and that's what it was. So since then, I haven't fucked with the peppers.
As
But
a brand, you got to be able to make something that people don't have one of. You want them to have 5, 10.
exactly. Well, my bottom bitch, because I don't. It's 2 things I don't fuck with bullshit. I don't fuck with bullshit hotels. I don't fuck with
his
bullshit
bottom bitch is
beer.
about to be the
Bull-
$11.
My
Beer and
bottom
hotels.
No, beer and hotels. I don't fuck with. So my
Hotels
bottom,
is hard though.
my bottom bitch is a vodka tonic because I'm not fucking with no Bud Light or none of that. If they ain't got no
Bud
good,
Light is a good beer.
if they
Change
not
the rules though. You change
bro,
the rules. Talking about beer.
Hey man, if they don't, I would rather be sober than to drink bad beer.
so
and
if
right,
we at my crib watching the Super Bowl.
it's different if you at
Okay,
somebody's
okay,
crib
okay.
because that's disrespectful.
I got
That's
you.
disrespect. I'm never drinking Coors Light, but
For the record, Coors Light is also my bottom bitch. Now that I think of it, I didn't get the name bottom bitch. Coors Light.
But I don't never want to be disrespectful. If I'm at somebody's house, I'm gonna drink what they hand to me.
Okay.
So, but and right now, I would
What's your
say
top girl?
right now, if I told somebody if they was hit me, it was like, bro, I'm finna go to wherever, Hop City, whatever. What should I try? I would tell them the clown shoes, Bluegrass Billionaire. Like Billionaire was one of my favorite joints last year. The Bluegrass Billionaire is good as fuck, and I don't even rock with barley wine like that. But it's aged in bourbon barrel. That shit is great, bro.
Man, we got a
wine is
barley
tough.
wine coming out that's aging right now, and some cognac.
We just need to
Hennessy
become.
barrels.
We need to become friends.
I don't know if this is part of the podcast where we tell you what we're working on with Monday Night Brewing or not, but
Yes, we do.
we're about to work on a bourbon barrel.
Yes.
We're about to go up to Kentucky. I'm trying to get him to go with me so we can go to, around the area of Maker's Mark. There's a bourbon trail that is in Bardstown, Kentucky that I have access to that most people don't. That I can get 2 barrels. I'm gonna bring them back, and we're gonna make some bourbon barrel of something.
Of something.
I don't know what's after the bourbon barrel. I don't know what we're gonna put in it, but can we get that out now in front of everybody?
I'll figure that out. I don't like people.
But we're
knowing
working
the
on some
next
shit with a
play.
bourbon barrel though for the fall. right around tailgating season.
We got a new facility opening up right down the street over at the corner of Lee and White. It's solely for barrel aging beers. We had a lot of success with that.
Folks been looking forward to that. Ever since like word kind
That
of
area
leaked
is
out
gonna
of
be
that,
crazy.
you know what I'm saying?
I didn't know anything about it until
Yeah.
today.
But Reese,
That
like,
shit at the end of the belt line.
do you drink that when it's hot? Like
What?
the drafted kilt? To me, that's kind of a fall beer.
You know, no, like Drafted
my
Kill, like,
friends are like that.
in the colder months. That's usually what I go to. You know what I'm saying? Or like the darks
I'm
and the
stouts
stouts, you know what I'm saying?
24/7.
In the summertime,
I'll go turn the AC down and
Yeah.
go
in
enjoy
the
it.
summertime, like I usually switch over just strictly to like whiskey more than like beer in the summertime. Beer, you know what I'm saying? Like I mess with ales every once in a while. Usually, like if I'm on my porch in the summertime, like I'm just
Front porch or
drinking
your
whiskey.
back porch?
Both.
It go from one to the
Wrap
other.
around.
Right.
Getting the steps in.
But so
from one to
please,
the other.
please tell people how they can get in contact with y'all. Tell people where they can buy the album, and tell people where they can get the brew.
Real simple, man. You new album is out now. It's called Another 40 Acres by Nappy Roots. You can find us at nappyroots.com. Real simple. And any website or any social media you use, just search Nappy Roots. And you can find us.
Man, Monday Night Brewing. Check out the website, MondayNightBrewing.com, at Instagram, Monday Night Brewing. Same time, if you're in the state of Georgia, Alabama, go to your grocery store, go to your package store, go to your high-end supplier. If they don't have it, bug them about it. It should be there. Same time, the best place to always go to is our original location, right off Howell Mill. And then our new location that we're opening up, Lee and White. It's going to be a huge development. We're one of the first people to come into the area to revitalize
I love it.
the place. That part of Atlanta was what made Atlanta what it is, and it's been forgotten. Only businesses that go there are fast food joints. That's bullshit. Time to bring back the wealth. I don't want to re-gentrify it. I just want to bring attention to a really it's so deserving, and it's so just forgotten, and it's kind of bullshit. But we're gonna make good beer there, so always Monday Night Brewing.
Man, I was there. I went to go look for some space there for our own personal lab and offices. And I seen what they're about to do. And the whole belt line is there. If you're from Atlanta, it's right there on the belt line. The location they got is about to be, the whole area over there is about to be crazy. Just the West End. You know about Metro Lofts. You know about the West End Mall. All of that over there. The grinders and hustlers, the movers and shakers. You know, the doers and non-doers. You know, I don't care. You're going to end up there one day and you're going to be like, yo, on this podcast, Skinny DeVille said this shit was dope. It was dope. And so Monday Night Brewing, like, I believe in these guys. Like, it doesn't take me long to be a believer. I'm more of a believer early because I give respect off the gate, and it takes me a little bit longer to not fuck with you after you stop following through with your shit. But with Monday Night, like, they came through with everything they said they was going to do, and we showed up when they said we was going to show up. So, therefore, both sides of the defense check out, and I seen the location, what they're about to do. And if I can put my bourbon barrel in there for the fall, right around tailgating season, if we can have this conversation again in a couple months, mark my words right now that we're on to some new shit, and it's about to be big for hip-hop. And you know, everybody's doing their own thing. Hip-hop is good without craft breweries even fucking with it. And craft breweries are fucking with shit that doesn't have to do anything to do with hip-hop. But if we can blend the two cultures together, and like we're talking about it like right now, like this is hip-hop and craft brewery at its finest about respect and aficionados of both genres. And if we can do that and talk about music over good beer, it's easier on the deliver than taking shots every time you don't like the song that's playing in the club. But let's not play no games. Let's be about what we are going to be about, and let's follow through and check out each other and support each other and support local. If you're in a city and you don't know about craft breweries, go check out one and have that bartender or the barista, if you're in Starbucks or something, you know, let someone turn you on to some new shit. You know what I'm saying?
Starbucks, like, man, you can get this draft.
I don't think they got beer. I don't think they got beer in Starbucks. The sommelier. The sommelier.
Some people only know Starbucks, and all they know is their barista. Grande, latte,
So
whatever.
your
No.
beer barista.
But
Hashtag trust your local barista.
exactly. But if I went to a brewery like Monday night, like give me something you recommend, and they tell me what to drink because I'm trusting them, it's probably going to be some good shit. So that's all I'm saying. Fuck with your local people. Fuck with your craft brew. Support your own artists. Listen to what, you know, everybody's saying that is on the other side of the counter, and let's do this shit. We'll see you.
And I just want to say one more thing, man. You was asking about our favorite beers. To me, I feel like Peter, man. Like, try a different beer every chance you can.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Just if you got a favorite, that's cool. You know, store it at home. But when you go out, man, try a different beer every time.
Formulate your own opinion.
Yeah, and to people that are not, hold on, to people that are not familiar with, you know, when they, you know, go to certain places to get their beers, they do allow you to taste it.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what
Long
I'm
as
saying?
it's on
Just
draft,
act like,
it's
Grant,
good.
I ain't saying go up to like 9 tastings, but just realize you can ask the bar, oh, let me taste that first, and they will do that for
100%. 100%.
Don't taste Coors Light.
If you,
Coors Light cheap.
I do that
Right.
shit at Ben and Jerry's. Like, go to
Right.
Baskin Robbins and leave their full off.
so yo, we appreciate y'all fellas coming through for real, 100%, man.
sir.
Please
Thank you.
go out and get that Another 40 Acres album. If you are in the Southeast, make sure you pick up some Monday Night Brewing. They got a bunch of different options for every kind of palate, for sure. And if you're not, man, just make sure you go support local breweries in your town. I'm sure there's one, because there's one popping up every other day. But you are listening to Day One Radio on ABLradio.com. Make sure you follow us on Day One Radio on all your social media, and we will see you next week with another dope show.